Hey YouTube! So, today we're going to be starting something a little new on the channel. So I know recently we've been doing a lot of full gameplay, and a lot of just like full games, how to win games, how to start them, finish them, all these kinds of things, right? But I thought that recently it would be a good idea to kind of do something a little bit different. So, we're going to be publishing 3 videos on the channel over the next 6 days, where it will be a HECARIM bootcamp. So, in the HECARIM bootcamp, we'll be covering itemization, we'll be covering gang pathing, and then for the final video, it'll be advanced HECARIM mechanics. So, without further ado, today will be the first installment of the HECARIM bootcamp covering itemization. So, recently, what I've been doing is I've been doing 2 different, very distinct builds on HECARIM that have 2 very different runes and build paths. So the first one is the standard one, okay? This is the one that you guys saw in my Season 11 HECARIM guide, where we went over it, and it's more of a frontline build, right? So with this build, you're going to be going Divine Sunder into Ravenous Hydra, then getting Steraks Gauge, and then either Death's Dance or Spirit Visage, depending on if you need more magic resistance or armor, and then finishing the other item, right? And then either go Ninja Tabby or Merc Treads, depending on the team comp. So, an example full build with this would be something like this, right? So this is my Victories Call PGG. It's currently Diamond 1, playing in mostly Master games, and usually it'll look something along these lines, right? So this one was unfortunately a loss, but it'll be something like this, right? Where you go for this itemization, and for the rune path, what you'll want to do is you want to go Conqueror, Triumph, Tenacity, Last Stand, Sudden Impact, and Ravenous Hunter. So this build is really good for more being the frontline tank, right? So if your team needs a tank and they really need someone that can just go in, soak a bunch of damage, do a bunch of damage, and just beat everyone, right? This is the build you're going to be want to run. Because I want to show you guys, right? So this is what it'll look like in games. So imagine it's like this, right? We'll just level up our character at 18. Just this quickly. So now I want you guys to have a look. So right now we have 3 target dummies, right? And just look at the amount of damage it does. Even with like more of a tank build, right? You guys see the burst? Where it's like the DPS is about 600. Because Ravenous Hydra procs on your Qs, right? And you're just doing so much damage because you have like so much damage everywhere, right? And because it has so much resistances as well, you don't even die. So it's like when you're in the middle of a fight, you're gonna have the Steraks shield coming in, and it'll just bring you to like maybe half health, right, from maybe a quarter, and then you'll just be able to heal everything up because you have the Ravenous Hydra Omnivamp, you have the Divine Sunderer Spellblade, you have the Steraks Gauge Bloodlust passive, right, as well as Spirit Visage, and then you're healing from your W, and you're healing from Ravenous Hunter, all amplified by Spirit Visage. So this build, the times you're going to want to run it, right, the situations, is going to be if the enemy team doesn't have a high priority damage target, right? So let's say you're playing versus a team comp, okay? And they have 5 champions, right? So they'll have an Ornn top lane, they'll have an Olaf jungle, maybe they'll have a Morgana mid, Jhin ADC with a Braum support. This would be the best build to run because in that team comp you're going to be really frontlining, right? You're going to have to deal with the Olaf, you're going to have to deal with the Ornn, you're going to have to kind of get on the back line a bit, but also be tanky enough so that, let's say, the Braum doesn't stun you and then Jhin will kill you, right? So it's more of a build that's meant to really get in the thick of things and just kill everyone by doing that, right? So this is the build path to run if that's your objective, right? If the objective is, okay, you want to get in and you want to stay in, you want to just like fight it out and you want to survive, right? This is the build you go. So for the second build, this is the build I've been running a lot more actually recently, and I think it's more of a high-low build because this one is very good for, like, let's say being the guy who can 1 versus 5, but this build is more for, let's say, assassination, and I call it my assassin build. This is one that I innovated, and I'm sure you guys saw in recent videos, and if you guys have been wondering, well, why does he go this build, I'll tell you. So this build is perfect for if there is a high priority damage target, right? So let's say the enemy team, they have a Vayne Lulu, or they have a a Kog'Maw Lulu, right? Even if they have 3 other tanks, right? Like let's say Olaf, they have an Olaf jungle, they have Mundo top, and let's say a Twisted Fate mid because he'll build Zonias, right? So he'll get a bit tanky. But this is the build you want to run because you really need to assassinate that high priority damage target. So for this build, you're going to be want to go for sure Eclipse, Essence Reaver, the Collector. These are the 3 pivotal items you need to get. It's not the same as the other build, right, where you need to get all 6. This one allows for a lot more fluidity with the build path, right? So you're going to want to get these 3 items and then get defensive boots depending on what you need, right? So maybe steel caps or merc treads. And then if the enemy team has a lot of shields, you're going to want to get you're going to want to get Serpent's Fang. And if they have a lot of healing as well, then you're going to want to get Kempung Chainsword. So this way you have the shield break and the anti-heal, right? But since we're versus target dummies, they don't have either of these things. So we're just going to go for Bloodthirster and Yumu's Ghostblade. If the enemy team is like 4 AP, so like let's say they have Evelynn, they have Rumble, they have Kog'Maw, Lulu, and then maybe their jungler or their mid laner is like Malzahar, right? So a lot of AP, then you're also going to want to get Mob Malmortius. So we're going to go for this, and I'll just show you guys the build in action. So this one is insanely good for one-shotting. It's really the best. And for the rune setup, you want to go with this build. I'll show you right now. It is right here. So this was a game I did in high elo. It was Grandmaster MMR. And so the rune setup is going to be right here. So you're going to want to go Phase Rush with Nimbus, Cloak, Celerity, and Water Walking. And then secondary, Sudden Impact, and Ravenous Hunter. And then you can do your double adaptive with armor, right? So just to show you guys how this build works in action, it's like this, right? So you're going to want to charge your E, and then... So do you guys see how the DPS is like 1300? With the other build, it was about 6, right? But with this one, the one-shot build, it's like a lot more crazy. And if you guys want to see something even more insane, let's auto-refresh cooldowns. Alright, so now we're going to run with this. And I want you to look at the target dummy. So we're going to run at him. So it's 4,000 damage, right? And then you're just doing so much. Like, it's really, really crazy. That's why I love this build, because imagine even if the enemy team were to have a Kog'Maw Lulu, right? These champions who would be a lot more about like sitting in the back line and kind of just throwing out a bunch of damage. It wouldn't even matter because you can just get on top of them and you can just kill them. So with both these build paths, the pathing always remains the same, right? I tell you guys every game you want to start your blue, you want to go Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, Red, and then Krugs, and then you go for either bot skull or bot gank depending. So that's the first installment of the HECARIM Bootcamp. If you guys liked it, be sure to leave a like and sub, and we will be back about 2 days from now with the next installment, which will be about gank pathing. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys then. Have a good one.